Alright guys, in this video I'm going to be going over ultrasonic cutters. So I am now carrying on the site Ecotech ultrasonic cutters. This is the ZO91, which is very similar to the ZO41, but is actually made for the US domestic market. And this is the ZO95, which is also similar to the ZO85. There are a few extras in these over those base models, but more importantly, at least according to what Ecotech has told me, these are the ones that are approved for the US market. The ZO41 and the ZO85 are not actually approved for our market, even though for some reason they're easier to find than these models. Not really sure why, but these are the ones that are actually approved for our market. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the boxes, show you what's included. We'll start with the ZO91. Now this is a really good base level cutter. If you're just getting into retrofitting or building lights, or maybe you just want this for hobby use or something like that. This is a much cheaper, more affordable version at being almost a third of the price of the ZO95. This is going to be much better for the average user. The biggest differences are going to be that it will overheat a little bit quicker than what the ZO95 would. The ZO95 also does cut faster than what this does, and ZO95 is a little bit more modular. You can actually replace the horn, which this is the horn here. You can replace the horn on the ZO95s versus the ZO91. And I'm going to find out more. I'm still learning a lot about the offerings. I never realized quite how much Ecotech actually sells, being just how terrible the support is in the States here. There's not a heck of a lot of parts, even though they have tons with Ecotech. So my hope is that I'll start slowly getting to the point where I carry enough stuff that I can support parts and replacement parts, anything you guys need. Obviously, you know, if you need something, I can get it, but it will take a little bit. I'm hoping to keep stuff in stock. I do have a couple cutters in stock. It's a pretty big investment to keep a lot of these in stock, so I will try to increase my inventory as time goes on. But if you do want to get one and it shows that it's out of stock on the site, contact me. I'm sure I will at that point already have some on the way, and you can get your name on one if you want it. But go ahead and open it up here. Alright, so ZO91. Like I said, this one is very similar to the ZO41, and some of you that have seen it are probably familiar with it. Now, on this initial set, the couple sets that they sent me, they did send me the Euro cables. I am replacing these with the US version, so you won't have to worry about that. You will get the right ones, and I'm gonna I have talked to them about getting the proper ones in, so I won't have that problem next time. But if you order it from me, you will get the US cable in the box. And the actual cutter itself is right here. And everything is packaged very well from them. It seems like, you know, nothing should be damaged in shipping or anything. Seems to hold up pretty well. This is the cutter itself. Basic power plug there. This is the power brick, and the way it works is just that replacement cord will plug in right here, the one that I'll provide. This part plugs directly into the power port here. You have an on-off switch. You do have a normal and high mode. What I was talking about, the 95 actually has something called an S-high. It's like a super high, and it does cut faster. Like, it's kind of impressive just how fast it can open up a set of tail lights or headlights or whatever. It does move pretty darn quick. It is adjustable for the angle. Basically just going to set it up kind of like this, pull it out, do whatever cutting you need to do, slide it right back in. There's not a heck of a lot to it. The cut button is right here, so when you're cutting you can cut. And there's one downside to the 95 that I actually don't really care for, and that is that there is no on-off button on the actual horn itself. The on-off button is on the machine, the box. So that's something I don't really care for on the design, but it does include a foot pedal, which I think kind of makes up for it, but we'll go over that when I open it up. And then, yeah, so it goes right back in. And it does include a pack of blades and a replacement blade holder. A lot of people will ask me, you know, like, oh, I've got an old one, but if this doesn't work right, I might need to get a new one. You may not need to. From what I've seen, if you just use like a maintenance kit and you replace your blade holder, it can make an old, worn-out Ecotech cutter run just like new. Maintenance is pretty important on these things. I think that's kind of how I got into carrying Ecotech, is looking for the maintenance kits, looking for the replacement blade holders was becoming very difficult. The few people that were selling them were price gouging, ridiculously so. So I finally ended up reaching out directly to Ecotech, and we have been, you know, working out the details of becoming a distributor for them. So fortunately I've been able to do that. So this is the Z041. As you can see, there's not a heck of a lot to it. I mean, honestly, you could pull this right out of the box, plug it into the wall, and just go to town on it. The blade, it's got a little protective thing for the little blade holder there, a little set screw on the side so that you can tighten down on the blade, pull your old one out, put a new one in. The blade holder itself is down in there. I will show you that more. I'm going to actually clean out my current Z085, which is what I'm using. Once again, this is the only thing you could find. The 95s were a little bit harder to find, even though now I know apparently the 95 is what's made for our market, and the 85 is, or the 80 Z080, which is the one I have, is not. So definitely some interesting stuff that I've learned since talking to Ecotech. But I'm going to go ahead and put this one back in the box, and we'll get to the Z095. So now moving on to the Z095. The box is a little bit more generic, but you still have your instruction manual there. This nice little tool to help you remove the blades and whatnot. A little bit overkill, but you definitely get some torque with that. You have that power block again, and in this first shipment I did get the Euro cables again, but once again that will be replaced with the US spec cable. If you happen to be in another country or something, I'm not yet sure who I'm allowed to sell to and who I'm not, so that will be a factor. I may potentially have to set these as only sellable within the US. That was part of the stuff that I was reading. I had to kind of like declare what my market was going to be before. So currently I'm not a dealer for Ecotech. They have sold me these parts at a discount so that I can pass it on to you guys. I am working on getting the official dealer status, which will get me deeper discounts, and there are some caveats to that, like who I can sell to. So depending on when you watch this video, I may or may not be able to sell to someone outside of the United States. That I'm still working out the details on that. This is your horn, and like I said, it's kind of nice on the 95s because this is a modular setup, so the horns are replaceable. If for some reason you need to replace this, you can. I have not really come across a case where any of the ultrasonic cutters I've used have wore out to that point. As I said, many people who think that they have one that's a little bit wore out, they need to replace it. It's actually just maintenance. You need to do the basic maintenance, and I have all those kits on the site, and we will go over that at the end of the video here. But in the event that somehow you do burn out a shoehorn, or maybe, you know, eventually the wear on the actual holder here could potentially get to the point where just a maintenance kit is not enough. I haven't seen that yet, but it's totally possible. So if that is the case for you, I can get these replacement horns. I do not currently have them, but as of the making of this video, but in the future I do hope to have these on hand. Next up, this is kind of cool, and as I said, it makes up for the fact that there is no on-off button on the horn itself. But this here is a very nice foot pedal. So you can have it on the floor, and while you're cutting, foot pedal on, off, knife stops cutting. So that is a pretty cool feature that the Z095 has, that just makes it a little bit more unique. Really cool. I like that they add that. In addition, just like the 91, it does come with a pack of blades and a replacement blade holder, which is very important to keep the ultrasonic cutter running at top performance, that new blade holder. Moving on to the actual unit itself, you can see it's a much more industrial look. It's not something that's necessarily going to sit on the desk really easily. Depending on where you put it. I mean, obviously you can find a place for it, but it just works. It's a workhorse. This thing does work much better than the 91 or the 41, depending on what you're using. Another comparative that I've heard a lot is how does it hold up to the Wonder Cutter. And I actually had the Wonder Cutter before I got into Ecotech, and it actually burned out on me, and that's why I moved to Ecotech. But I would say comparatively, yeah, when I went up to the Z080, which is the one that I have right now, it was a massive improvement. From what I've been told, this is the same as the 80, but it does include the foot pedal, which is a very nice upgrade indeed. Plus, this is also actually made for the U.S. market versus the 80 apparently is not. So you do have your basic on-off switch, which is here, and then you have your speed control. And as I mentioned, you do have not only the normal and high, like you do on the 91, but you also have the super high, S-high, which it does cut quite fast. So that's a nice mode to use. I use it periodically. I do find myself using the high more than anything because that does move more than fast enough, especially if you use good blades versus the basic blades. These are the basic blades. They're very cost effective blades, not expensive at all, and you get quite a few of them, but you'll find yourself burning through them quite a bit, having to replace them because they get dull. It's just not made with the same kind of metal as the nicer blades, and once again, I will cover those at the end of this video after we go over this. On the back side, you do have your foot pedal input there, and your power here, as well as a reset, or a power switch on and off, and this can be used to reset it in the event that it overheats. It's an ultrasonic cutter. Eventually it is going to overheat, especially depending on what you cut through. I don't believe it really matters what you buy. They're all going to eventually overheat, especially if you have not kept up with maintenance and you've not seated the blade properly within the blade holder. They are very likely to overheat faster than if everything is set right. But overall, I mean, I can cut an entire taillight open without overheating with the 80, which is the same as the 95 once again. So yeah, it's a solid unit. I'm very happy that I ended up spending the extra money and getting the 80 or 95 in this case. It did seem to make a big difference. But all right, so I'm going to put this away and then we'll go over some of the accessories. First up on the parts that we are carrying on the site are your basic blade pack, and these do include 40 30-degree blades. These are going to be your most basic stuff. This is the same pack that comes in the ultrasonic cutter brand new. So just a way to replace that, get more of them. These do work. They work fine. So it is available on the site if you do need some extra blades. Next up is the actual blade holder itself, and this is the ZH04S, and you do get one of these with both cutters, but you'll find that this is one of the common wear points. These go out, these wear. You're vibrating at about 40,000 vibrations. I believe it's a minute. I can't remember offhand. It's either a minute or second, but it is a heck of a lot of vibrations. It's vibrating very fast, and with that comes friction and things like that, and the blade holders within. Even if you tighten down that set screw really well, you're still going to get some vibrations, and that is what this is. It's kind of almost like a softer sacrificial metal to protect your horn from getting the wear. It usually ends up here, and so this is just a replacement one, and it does come with a new set screw, as well as an Allen wrench to change all of that out. And very simple to do that, and I will actually show you at the end of this video how to actually use the maintenance kits to refresh your ultrasonic cutter. Up next is the maintenance kit. Now this is the SB01, which includes a metal rod with a slit in the end of it, and 3 pieces of sanding paper. And this is very specific sanding paper. You don't want to take some 80 grit to your machine, but this is used for cleaning out the inside of the horn. Obviously, there's a very tight space in there. You can't really get a lot of tools in there. This works quite well to break up any dirt or anything like that that's inside of there. And that is what this kit is for. Once again, that is the SB01. Up next is the SB02. Now what this is just replacements for those sanding pads. So you will end up working through the sanding pads, but instead of having to buy an entire new kit, these are cheaper, and it includes 10 of the little sanding papers instead of just the normal 3 that are in there. So it's kind of like a just an extra pack to add to this once you work through your initial 3. And I do usually use 1 every time that I change out a blade holder. I have actually had a few times where I'll go back and I'll use these to kind of like bring back an old blade holder and make it work better. So I do use quite a few of these ever since, finding out about them. So once again, I was like most of you, I'm sure, not aware of half of the stuff that's available from Ecotech and what it does. And once again, that's the main purpose of this video, is to try to kind of educate you guys a little bit as to what I have learned from Ecotech, and show you some of the things that they've sent me and some of the stuff I'm selling. Currently, all of this stuff is for sale on the site, in stock, ready to ship. So the last thing of what we are currently, as of this video, selling on the website, and this I do once again hope to expand on that, but this is the ZH10, and it is a long blade. Now this is one of their high-end blades. Cost-wise, this is not cheap, but I've been using it for about 3 weeks now myself, and it still cuts the same as the day I put it in. I don't know what kind of metal it's made of. I think that'll be one thing I asked them, but I'm pretty sure this is a very high quality steel, because it holds its edge very well. In addition to that, it is much longer than the traditional blade. It also has a flat end, so it fits into the blade holder much easier. Let me see if I can get that a little bit closer for you. My focus is probably not going to work so well. But I am loving this blade. Once again, it's not real cheap, but I am going to include these standard with the, if you get a Z095, I'm going to include the blades so you guys can try them out. I cannot do it on the 91s. Unfortunately, there's just not enough margin there, and I want to keep the prices low on the 91s, and putting this blade in there, I would have to increase the price on it. The Z095s, I can do it. It'll be okay. With the hopes that you find the same thing as I do. You find that they're useful and you like them, and then you order more, and then, yeah, I'm happy. But they do work quite well. I'm impressed with them. So I like them. I'm a believer. This will probably be the only kind of blades that I use, is these high-end blades. And they do have a couple more. I'm actually going to go show you those. I don't have them in stock currently, but I did get some samples from them to decide which ones I want to carry and which ones I might not. But I will include, once again, the ZO95 will get the upgraded long blade, which is the ZH10. It will also include a maintenance kit, as well as it does include a basic pack of blades and a replacement holder, which both the ZO91 and the ZO95 do include these, and the addition of these two will be in the ZO95. So definitely want to make sure you know what you're getting. Don't want you to order the 91 and be like, oh, where's my fancy blade? Sorry, can't do it. But it will work. It will work with the 91. So if you decide you want to get the 91, but you want to get a nicer blade, this will work inside of it. All these parts will work in the 91. So that is the stuff that's currently, as of this video release, on the website for sale, in stock, ready to ship. Now I'm going to go over some of the parts that they have sent me that I have either started testing or have not yet gotten to, but I did want to cover them, let you guys see them, see what potentially could happen. You know, I might be carrying, if there is some parts that you see me show that do interest you, maybe you're not using this for headlights, maybe you're watching this video. Once again, there's so little support. When you try to find a video to show you the difference between the ZO95, the ZO80, the ZO 41, the ZO91, there's nothing out there. So I can totally understand there might be some hobby level people that are watching this video right now, not so much on the headlight side, and I do want to try to cover some things that might interest you guys, more so than just the retrofitters. So, first up, we'll cover the ZH41. Now this blade is just a longer blade. So that one, they are both 25 millimeters. This one has a flat tip to it with a blade surface to it. So if you see, like the ZH10, which I currently stock, has a angled tip to it. This one has a flat tip, and it is a sharp tip to it. And it does appear to be the exact same metal that the ZH10 has, but it's a little bit of a different purpose. If you wanted to stab at something to cut it, this would be a really good tool for that, potentially. You know, having the right tool for the right job can be quite useful. So, haven't had a chance to play with this one yet, but it is pretty interesting. I do like it. Up next is the ZH11. Now the ZH11 is also 25 millimeters, just like the other one, but there it is. Fell out on me. This one is serrated, so it's like a saw blade. You can see it there. So quite interesting. I know serrated blades can be pretty darn nice depending on what kind of material you're cutting, especially like foam and stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure yet on plastics. So this is another one that I haven't used yet, but it is something that they sell. It's something that I may end up stocking. If this is something that you are interested in, please leave a comment in the notes or contact me directly through the website, or social media works as well. And it's something at minimum I can get for you. Definitely an interesting blade as well. It does have that serrated tip at the top there. So this is the ZH32. Now this is actually a grinding stone. So I think this kind of goes back to hobby level again. Not so sure it will have a lot of a purpose for retrofitting, but it is actually a grinding stone. Very small, but if you wanted to get into tight spaces or anything like that, to remove a little bit of paint or deburr something, this might be a really good way to do that. It does recommend that you do, oh no, sorry, that was the other one. So application, it does list removing paint, polishing a mold, or removing rust from tools. So it gives you an idea of some of the things that they do list that are good uses for it. Also very interesting. Something I may potentially start carrying. Once again, any of the stuff that you see, if it's something that interests you and you'd like to get a hold of one, let me know. I will be able to get one for you. So the last thing that they have sent me to test out is the ZH48. Now this is a ceramic blade. I don't know if it even lists purposes for it, but you know, I would imagine softer materials or things that you want to cut. I would say one benefit to this right off the bat that I would imagine would be that it will probably cut plastic without creating as much heat. That is one thing with the metal. You do usually, depending on how you're cutting the plastic, you can create quite a bit of heat around that cut. Haven't had a chance to try this one yet, but it is available. I did want to cover it in this video, and I might do a video in the future once I've tried some of these extra parts and showing how they work or how well they work compared to another one. But I did want to cover these in this video to just kind of let you know some of the things that Ecotech offers that I can get for you if you do want it. So now I'm going to show you basic maintenance on these and ways that you can keep yours running longer, better, cutting well, revive one if you have one that's not cutting quite the way that it was when you first bought it. I will show you, go over that and how to do it. So I will be using a new blade kit, so I'll grab that here, and I will be using a cleaning kit. I actually, instead of opening a new one, I do have my holder here, but I will need some more of these, so I will open that. So the first thing you want to do is you will want to remove your blade and blade holder. Now I've had this one for like probably about 2 years now. It's been a very solid cutter, and as long as I keep up with the maintenance, it cuts just as well as the day I bought it. Definitely highly recommend this thing. So pulled out the blade. I am currently using the ZH10, which very highly recommend that blade. I do like it. It works very well. And then here's my blade holder. Now it's a little bit older. I'm kind of replacing this a little bit prematurely, mainly just to show you guys the process. But you can kind of see how it's a little bit wore down there. There's some wear marks on the actual holder itself, and that's part of what we're going to be replacing here. I'll probably keep that to the side because it is still fine, but I want to show you this full maintenance kit to begin with. Now inside of here, you can use like a Q-tip with like some alcohol to try to clean it out some, but the problem is it won't really break up any hard deposits that are going to be in there. And that was something I used to use the alcohol, and it worked pretty well. But ever since getting the maintenance kit, it lasts longer. When I clean up the machine and I bring it all back to life, it lasts longer. The blade holders last longer, is something I noticed. So like before, if I just used a Q-tip and alcohol, the blade holders wouldn't last quite as long before I had to replace it with a new one. But now, ever since I used the maintenance kit in between, not just blade changes, I actually do it. If the knife starts not cutting quite as well, I'll stop, I'll pull the blade holder out, pull the knife out, go ahead and use a maintenance kit in there, put everything back together. And even with the old blade holder, it will start running better again. Sometimes using this maintenance kit every couple weeks or so is a really good idea. It will keep this thing running very well. So here is my holder, and there is a slit on one end, and that is to hold this paper in place. There's a shiny side and a dull side. The dull side is your abrasive side. The shiny side is the back side. So when you put this in, you're just going to, hard to do from that angle, slide right in just like that. And then you're going to twist it around the cleaner, just like so. Next, you're going to go ahead and insert that into the horn. And and try to make sure that it's all the way down in there, and just spin it. And you just kind of apply a little bit of pressure side to side, trying to clean out the inside of that as well as you can. And it is a very, very fine grit sandpaper, so it won't really wear out the inside of your horn. It's mostly just going to clean it out really good, get rid of any of that deposits, any buildup that's inside of there. And as you can see, when I pull it out, you can see the wear marks there. And that is just the crap that it pulled out from the inside there. It does really do a great job of cleaning it out. Now I would follow behind that with a Q-tip and some alcohol and just rub it right in there, and that'll, you know, any loose dirt that it knocked free, it'll get it out that way. So now we just clean out the inside with a Q-tip that is dipped in some alcohol, and it just slide right in there. It is a little bit of a tight fit, but actually that's really good. I mean, it fits in there just right. And just like that, you're good to go. And you can blow it out a little bit of compressed air if you want to, but you know, alcohol will kind of dry out on its own. So the next thing is to put your new holder in. That's my old one. So you get that new holder, slide it right back in there along with your blade, and I am going to put the ZH10 back in there because it is still working very well. And then tighten it down with your set screw. And that's it. Another nice thing about these blades is they're much easier to position inside. You'll notice on the free blades that come with it, they have an angled end on both sides. Both the blade is angled and the back side is angled, and that makes it really hard to get it into the blade holder straight. Whereas with these, they have flat bottoms to them, so getting them inside is much easier because it just naturally bottoms out on the bottom. And I think that's one of the reasons why they cut better and they last longer, as they have a lot less vibration, a lot less tendency to move out of position and create that high-pitched frequency. I still do get a little bit of a high-pitched frequency on this, but it doesn't seem like it affects the blade or even necessarily the machine. Obviously, even with these blades, if they're not positioned properly, you will still overheat faster than normal, so you do want to make sure that your positioning is good, but it's much less prone to doing that. Even if you hear that high-pitched frequency noise, it seems like with the flat bottom blades like this one, it does last longer before the machine tries to overheat. And if you do hear that high pitch frequency, that is a good sign to go ahead and stop the machine, make sure everything's straight, make sure the machine is clean, make sure the blade is clean. If you have a little bit of plastic buildup on the blade itself, you will get that high pitch frequency, which is a good sign that there is something rubbing, something not quite right with the way that the blade is positioned, or potentially the cleanliness of the machine. So keep that in mind. But hopefully this video helped a little bit to explain some of the stuff that Ecotech offers, as well as some of the things that we're going to be offering here at Next Level Neo. And probably the most important part of the whole video, how to properly clean your machine. Because it does really go a long way. So if nothing else, if you've got a Z041, you got a Z091, Z080, Z095, whatever you got an old Ecotech cutter, even the Wonder cutters, all of these parts fit the Wonder cutter as well. And it's not quite running like it did when you got it brand new. Buy the maintenance kit. And the two parts that that basically consists of is the actual maintenance kit itself, which is this one here, the SB01 for cleaning out the inside of the horn, and the ZH04S, which is your new blade holder. The combination of those two should bring your cutter back to life, should make it run just like new. If it doesn't, then yeah, maybe yours is wore out, maybe you do need to upgrade, maybe you need to switch out to a different one. but I would most definitely recommend getting the maintenance kits first, giving them a go before you drop, you know, several $100, up to over $1,000 for the 95, onto an ultrasonic cutter. So just something to keep in mind. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos, and like, comment. If there's something else you want to see, some other video that you want us to cover, let me know. You know, I can put it on a list of ideas and things that I can try to get done. So thanks again.